Hey coaches, this is Coach Tall Guy. Today I'm going to take you through the coaching manual. This is a tool that you guys have access to, and I know some of you are using it. Some of you probably are not, but I just want to take a moment to kind of give you an idea of like some of the things that they have to offer. So when I'm in my coaching manual, I can go to the training ground here, and you'll see that there's so many things I can access. So some of the things I'll tend to access more often is the sessions or practices. But if you want something that's like specific, like goalkeeping, you can click on there and get a variety of lesson plans for goalkeepers. The education one's kind of cool. It just discusses topics in the game of soccer. And then, there's some guides and other things that you may not use as much, but definitely take a poke around, see what's going on in there. A lot of cool stuff. So, like, as an example, they have some practice plans that they'll throw up there. So I'm going to dive into one of them. Let's say we're going to dive into dribbling 1v1 and 2v1 skill. You'll see down here that they're saying this practice is appropriate for ages 5 to 8. I do find with the coaching manual that you can use these sessions with much older players. What we have to keep in mind is that this coaching manual was created in England, and one of the main clubs that they work with is a professional club called Southampton. So they're going around doing sessions with their young players who have actually been kind of handpicked throughout the county and the area. So these are very talented young players. So I find that the sessions, even though it says 5 to 8, they will work with much older players as well. So in this session, it's a dribbling 1v1 session, and then it moves to 2v1. So I click on there, and forgive me if my computer's running a little slow, but you're going to see that there's a lot of cool content here. So they have videos, they have animations, they also have written content, and they also have static content as well. So once you get in, you'll see that it's going to pull up the practice here, okay? So it says 5 to 8, but again, I've looked through this session before, and I would use this with much older players, particularly recreational players. So once it kind of loads, the first thing that they put on here is a video with the coach who's running it. I find that that's cool because then you can see them working with players. It's live. They do a good job of making this. As you can see, it's only 3 minutes and 28 seconds, so it's pretty quick to get a feel and idea for the session. Below, they'll show you the setup, and it shows you kind of how long that they do this activity, how many players they were using, balls, etc., and most importantly, the playing size, the area, all right? And then a nice little visual of the actual activity. Notice the two counter goals here, the main goal, the goalkeeper. We have our offensive players here in blue, and then we have our defenders here in red, okay? And then there's a brief description about how the activity set up and ran. Then as we move down, we see the coaching points, all right? So we're working on speed, change of direction, some of the individual skills and tricks, and you can click on these, and it'll kind of give you a little description of what they want. And then I really like this feature as well, this animation. So it kind of shows you how the activity looks. So we have a defender pass it out to the offensive player. The offensive player just tries to beat the defender and score a goal. Now, if the defender steals the ball, they can go to the counter goals. And then they put in just kind of ways of making it a little easier for your players, or if they're just crushing it, how to make it a little bit more challenging. Now, I'm going to dive into the video, and I'll kind of pause it from time to time to talk through a few different things, but I also want you guys to hear the coach who's leading it.
First defender, which is Levi's, going to take the ball out, okay? He's going to take a touch up his feet and going to pop it in, okay? As the attacker, you're looking to score past the keeper, okay? But you've got to obviously beat the defender. If the defending team win it, you've got 2 corner goals here, just to pop it in and you get a point, okay? So once you've been a defender, you come back into our base and we wait for the next go, okay? So touch at your feet, okay? And then we're playing. Good. Can we be bright? When we talked about kick that ball forward. Good. That would have been a free kick. Play on though. Play on. Can he score? When you're ready, let's play.
So in this picture in the video, what I really enjoyed is now you get to see the actual setup. All right. So you might have a bigger team, and that's okay. You can just add, your line's going to be a little bit longer. If you wanted, you could actually run 2 fields of this because you have enough space to do it. But I love the visual. You can see the 2 counter goals here. For you guys, you're probably not going to have actual goals. Some of you might have pugs, which is awesome. Set those up. If you don't, you can also just use cones, okay? Now I want to draw your attention to like these little dots here. Like I like that this dot's here because it shows the defenders where to start. It keeps them off the field. He's put some little dots here, and you can replace those with cones, and all the balls are here ready to go. And one of the things that you're going to want to make sure that happens during this activity is you really want to encourage your defender. So the boy in blue here, he's got to quickly get out and close down that ball because we want to make it a 1v1 activity. If our defenders just sort of jog out there and don't close space, this player should just quickly get to goal and shoot. Anytime when you're doing 1v1s, it's kind of cool to have these little counter goals because it does reward the defense. Like, hey, if I steal it, I can have something to score on. And if you didn't want to use counters, you could always put a coach here or a player here, and they've got to pass it to that player, which is very realistic to the game.
Good you. Great save, Jamie. Well done. Good, Ollie. Well done. Once you're ready, once you're out the area, you can set up and play. Good. Touch. Good. Nice and bright, attackers. Get that ball moving forward if we can.
So that one, I just kind of wanted to draw your attention. You're going to notice what I liked about this is for a very young age kid, very composed on the ball, quick little touches. The defender did a good job of not just running in and diving in, but trying to stay in front. But you'll notice the boy in orange who took those quick little touches, he's always keeping the ball moving. He's looking to unbalance that defender.
Good hands. Roll it into it then, Jack. Good boy. Keep it moving. Good defending. Well done. When we start, guys, when we start to go wide of the goal, what happens to the size of it? It gets smaller. Okay, so is that more difficult for you to get a goal? Okay, so maybe in a game that if you become so wide, you may not have a shot. You may do what instead? You may cross it, okay, for another striker to come in. So in these 1v1s, you've got to be brighter, quicker than that defender, okay? Take your first touch forward and out your feet, okay?
So I really want to emphasize that first touch forward. So many of our young players, they get kind of conditioned to stomping on the ball and stopping it. And that's okay, but it's not great. We really want a little touch forward with our head up so that we can start to attack and keep that ball moving. And you'll hear that the coach said quick, quick. So when we're doing 1v1s, things need to be quick. He also addressed the fact that if you take the ball too wide, you've actually created a situation where you have no angle to score a goal. You've made it much easier on the keeper. And so at that point, then you are going to think as a player, well, I'm not going to necessarily score there, but I can set up a cross. But this is a 1v1 activity to goal. So players should really be attacking, trying to make that move quick, not get themselves in positions where they're going too wide.
Okay, off we go. Can we go forward? You've gone wide. Good, can you score on it? Come on, keep.
Nice little transition on the counter.
Well, maybe occasions where you've beaten that defender, okay, and I'm on my right foot here, but I'm not right-footed. Can I have a shot with my right? Yeah, because what's the worst that could happen? He could save it, may parry it, and then maybe a rebound. Good.
So the coach there made a good coaching point. I have to kind of assume that he was seeing some of his players beating a defender but hesitating to shoot because the ball was on their not so strong foot, their non-dominant foot. And I like how the coach kind of stopped and encouraged the players like, hey, take a risk, take a chance. You never know what's going to happen when you shoot the ball with the correct foot. And also, he knows that the players aren't going to get any better with their non-strong foot if they're not taking those risks and chances. So as a coach, we really want to applaud our players, even though we know it was like not a great shot and had no power or something like that. But they actually took that risk, and that's hard for players. They don't want to take that risk. And, in a game, they're going to miss out on opportunities if they don't use the correct foot when they beat a player.
Move your feet. Move your feet. Good. Take your touches forward. Good strike. Good block. Getting the session planned and structured, and letting it flow. And let them making their own decisions, but only stepping in when obviously, say a player makes a mistake, or maybe when you can test them and test their knowledge of whether they're understanding the session.
So this is a huge one that he's completely right about. Once the session is flowing, let the kids be creative. This is an opportunity in 1v1s for them to explore, try some different moves. I've been around the game a long time, and one of my pet peeves is watching coaches who are dictating every single touch in a practice or in a game. We do not want to joystick players, because then they're not thinking for themselves. They're just only doing what the coach is asking them to do. And really, that's not our job as a coach. Our job as a coach is to give the kids the tools and let them express themselves on the field.
Right, this time oranges, okay, it's going to be slightly different. Okay, you stay in your sections, okay, in the grids that you've been working. It's going to be 2 attackers that go out, okay, so you must decide. Okay,
So now they're transitioning to a 2v1.
Right? But obviously, you take it in turns, okay? So now you need to be able to identify, can I dribble or can I pass? Okay, it's important that you're supporting one another.
So he hits on it perfect. Like in a 2v1, you're going to have to, as a player, identify when do I dribble, when do I pass. And hopefully you'll see from this video a little bit, again, the first touch is forward. When the ball comes to that player, they are going to drive. If they're the player on the ball, they're going to drive to goal, meaning they're going to keep that ball moving forward, and they're going to try to draw that defender to them so that they can open up an opportunity to pass it. If that defender never steps to them, they should be taking that ball all the way to goal and shooting it, okay? But what we see a lot in recreational players is they stop the ball, they pick their head up, which is great, but the ball is dead. It's stopped. And now they're in this position of they're staring down the player they want to pass to, and that pass gets picked off because they're not doing anything with the ball. So I want to encourage you coaches, when players have the ball, immediately they got to get their head up, but keep the ball moving. Don't have them just stop it dead. We want decision makers who can make that decision while dribbling the soccer ball. They need to be able to dribble and be able to pass off the dribble, okay? And none of this works if they can't get their head up. So the more we can empower our players to be confident having their head up and that they can continue to move the ball forward, that way they see the field, they see the defender, they see their teammate. Once they're able to see their defender, and once they're able to see their teammate, then they can make a decision of when to pass.
Ready, play. Next 2. Good, well done. Jake, what could you have done? Oh, you could have had a shot. You've got to pass it. Good, we're playing. Good, Jake. Ah! Leave your stuff.
That last one was pretty cool because that was a cheeky little move. I love that kid actually, I'm quite shocked for a kid who's probably 7 or 8 years old. He was able to read the defender, sell like he was going to make a pass, and then he made a quick cut and went to goal. So that was pretty high level right there. But you can see that, again, they have their head up. They're looking to make that decision. They're keeping the ball moving.
Grab yourself a drink. Obviously the focus tonight was on dribbling in 1v1 and 2v1 situations, okay? What did you have to use then if I wanted to beat? Good, a skill, what else? Speed, good. So maybe that opportunity to knock the ball past the defender, so obviously you get success as well.
And just to kind of wrap it up, the coach did a great job there at the end of practice. He brought the boys in, he sat them down, and he just asked them some questions. He was wanting to see, like, were they actually kind of figuring out the activity? What's their knowledge base? He wasn't actually telling them, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this. He was questioning, so how are you guys able to get past someone? And, a boy raised his hand, well, using speed. Exactly, yes. How were you getting open? Were you coming close? Were you staying wide? Letting the boys just tell him the answer versus him giving them the answer. So many times, if you haven't coached a ton, again, we feel like we're the leaders and we have to always give the kids the answers, but really we want these kids to be thinking. They're the ones making the decisions on the field. So we want to have them feel empowered, like, yeah, coach, I got it. I figured it out. And, for the coach, it's like, hey, did some of my coaching cues get through to the boys? Do they understand what I was talking about? So he did a really good job of that. So this is a cool tool for you guys as coaches, this coaching manual. There's a lot of awesome stuff in here. And again, I want to just emphasize that you might see a certain age group here and you're watching a video. Please keep in mind that these are academy players in England, but that these sessions are great for a variety of age groups. Like this session here, you could use it for sure starting at 8, 9, all the way up to our older players who are even 14, 15 years old. These are good stuff for even those older kids because they are recreational players. Quite honestly, I would never have used this session for the 5 and 6 year olds at our rec level right now, just because it's too advanced for those kiddos, even though they say 5 to 8. But there is a ton of good stuff here. Feel free to just, I think the best way is you just dive into it. So, you click on your training ground here and then just explore from there, kind of see what's going on, seeing what's out there. There are some tools if you guys want to make your own practices as well, that's fine. And I think this is a valuable tool for you guys. Hope this kind of helped. Take some of this, maybe you'll use this 1v1 to a 2v1 in your practice. These are all really good concepts for the players. Hopefully when you watch these things, you get some ideas on like how they're coaching the players. If you want to use an English accent, go for it. It might get you some credibility. But use it. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you guys later.